Okay, in this assignment you're solving a system of equations with the method of your choosing. Now there's a smart way to do this, okay? Here are the two equations. 4x minus 7y equals 10. And then you have y equals x minus 7. So we need to find the value for x and y within the system. Now, well, we're not going to graph, okay, so we can throw that out the window. I don't have graph paper here. So I make a wall on that side of the equation. I don't have an x or a y by itself. Now I make a wall on this side, and there's a y by itself, so we have a base variable, okay? So when I have a base variable, I want to use the substitution method, okay? Substitution is when you write the other equation, 4x minus 7y equals 10, and let's make that a plus negative 7. And then what do I do with my base? Well, I'm going to parenthesize the y, cross it out, and replace it with x minus 7, or plus negative 7, my bad. Okay. So x plus negative 7. So I just insert the x plus negative 7, that entire expression, into the parentheses. So I have 4x plus negative 7. Then I make the parentheses, and instead of having a y, we're going to put in x plus negative 7. Now look at when the parentheses close, right there. After it closed, it says equals 10. Okay, now I can solve for x. Okay, there's x here and x here. When I have it, well, I should have two of the same variable. So I put a 1, and I got to distribute, okay, the negative 7. So negative 7, negative 7. First I times it to 1x, and then I times it to negative 7. So that's negative 7x, and that's positive 49. So we line up our equals and put 10. I drop the plus down, and I put negative 7x, and then 49. So let's cross out the negative 7 times the parentheses. That's gone. Now we have a 4x in the front we need to add. Okay, now your x's are on the same side. Okay, so when I have two different x's, but they're on the same side, I just combine them. I don't add 7, add 7. That's to do when they're on opposite. So we add. So I'm going to have equals 10, and then I've got x. 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3. And then we add 49. Okay, now I'm pretty much free. Dot circle, minus your 49 from each side. 10 minus 49 is negative 39. So negative 3 times x equals negative 39. Then I divide each side by negative 3. And negative 39 divided by negative 3 is positive 13. Now that's the x number. Okay. Now to get y, write down the equation that's got the y by itself. So y equals x plus negative 7. And we have our answer for x. We have 13. If you want to put a 1 in front of it, that's fine. Okay. So 1 times 13, which is just 13. Really, I didn't need the 1. And I'm solving now for y, but y is already by itself, so I just do the operation. 13 plus negative 7 is negative 6. Okay. So there's your answer, 13 with negative 6. Okay, my next problem. 5x plus 6y equals 50, and then negative x plus 6y equals 26. So again, we're solving for x and y. Again, 5x plus 6y equals 50, negative x plus 6y equals 26. So I make a wall on the left side. Just make the wall on the side where the letters are. Okay. And I don't have any letter by itself, so I don't have a base, okay? So when I don't have a base, I use E for elimination, okay? Now in the E method, you write down one of the two equations for later, probably the top. Then I put the x's and y's into columns, okay? Put a 1 there. Now you want either the x's or the y's to add to 0. 5 plus negative 1 is not 0. 6 plus 6 is 12. That's not 0 either, but we don't have to multiply because we already have the same number in the y column. I just need to make one of them into negative so that they can add to 0. So we'll make the bottom negative. Well, if you made that negative, then the other two have to go to opposites. So that goes from a -1 to +1. That goes from a 26 to -26. And then I add. So 5x plus 1x is 6x. 6y plus -6y is 0y. And then 50 plus -26 is 24. Then 0 times y is 0. We just get rid of that. Okay? So I have 6 times x equals 24. And we just divide by 6. And we get 4. Now it's x equals 4. So 4 goes in the x. Now put 4 in for x in the equation we wrote down, that top equation. Okay, so 5 times 4 then is 20. Plus 6y equals 50. Now I solve for y. Okay, dot circle. Minus your 20. 50 minus 20 is 30. And then divide each side by 6. And 30 divided by 6 is 5. So y equals 5. So there's your solution, 4 with 5. Okay, next problem. Negative 5x plus 3y equals 51. And then y equals 10x minus 8. So I'm going to solve for x and y here. Okay, so what side are your letters on? Okay, right there. Those, I don't have an x or y by itself there, but there I do. Okay, so that I now have a base. Okay, make it plus negative. When you have a base, you apply the substitution method. Sub is. So when I'm using substitution, I write down the equation without the base. Negative 5x plus 3y equals 51. And then y is my base variable, so that's the variable I put in parentheses and slash out. And then above it, just in tiny letters, write 10x plus negative 8. So now write it with that in the parentheses. So you got negative 5x plus 3, parentheses, and now I put the 10x plus negative 8, the whole thing. Close it. Now where is it closed here? It's closed right here. Now after it you have equals 51. Okay, now I solve for x. I got x and x, so I got 3. So you're going to have 3 and 3 times 10x times negative 8. 30x, negative 24. Okay. That's gone. Now we have to add the negative 5x from the front. Okay, so we have two x's, but again they're on the same side of the equals, so I've marked that and write add. So negative 5x plus 30x is 25x, and then plus your negative 24 equals 51. So 25 times x, we got negative 24, so we plus 24. 51 plus 24 is 75. So you got 25 times x equals 75. Then we just divide by 25 and we have our answer, and that's x. X equals 3. Now put 3 into, now if you have to find y, if you have an equation that's got the y by itself, okay, use that one. So 3 goes in for x, okay. Okay, so we need to take 10 times 3, that's 30, okay, plus negative 8. Now the y is by itself, so we just combine those, okay, add them. 30 plus negative 8 is 22, so y equals 22. So 3 with 22 is a solution. Okay, now fourth example. 4x minus 3y equals 8, and then 5x minus 2y equals negative 11. Okay, 4x minus 3y equals 8, 5x minus 2y equals negative 11. Okay, so let's make a wall here. That's where the letters are at. I don't have a letter by itself though. I don't have one there either. So I put an E for elimination. Elimination, you want to write down your first equation, 4x plus negative 3y equals 8. And then we line them up into columns. Those are negatives now. Okay. Now I want to add, hopefully x, 4 plus 5 is not 0. Negative 3 plus negative 2 is not 0. And not only that, I don't have a column that has the same. So I need to multiply then. Put the 3 times dots. Now you have a 5 here, so that's what you're going to multiply all these by. You have a 4 here, so that's what you're going to multiply the bottom by. Okay, 5 times 4x is 20x. 5 times negative 3y is negative 15y. Then 5 times 8 is 40. Okay. Now on the bottom, 5x times 4 is 20x. Negative 2y times 4 is negative 8y equals negative 11 times 4 is negative 44. Now realign your columns. Now you don't have anything that adds, that's not 0, but it's the same. So if I make one of them negative, they will add to 0. Okay, remember you always add negative, and then they'll add to 0, but then that has to change into the opposite. That has to go opposite to positive 2. Okay. Now add, when you add a positive and a negative, the same thing, that's 0x. Negative 15 plus 8 is negative 7y. 40 plus 44 is 84. Okay, 0x takes out the x, that's why it's called elimination. So now I have negative 7 times y equals 84, so you divide by negative 7. And 84 divided by negative 7 is negative 12. Now that's the answer for y. Okay, make sure you put it in for the right letter. So negative 12 goes in for y. And I take negative 3 times negative 12. That's going to be positive 36. So now I have 4x plus 36 equals 8. So we minus 36, minus 36. 8 minus 36 is negative 28. And then I divide by 4, divide by 4. Negative 28 divided by 4 is negative 7. Okay, so negative 7 with negative 12. Okay, next problem. 11x minus 7y equals negative 14. Then x equals 2y minus 4. Okay. Okay, you got a letter by itself anywhere there? Nope. Do you have one here? Yep. Okay, so you're using the substitution method. Okay. So substitution, so write out your other equation. 11x minus 7y equals negative 14. Make that 7 plus negative. You can do it to the 14 too if you want. Okay, then we need to, x is the base this time, so it's x. We put the parentheses around. Cross it out. And in its place, we put 2y plus negative 4. Okay. So you got 11. Then you make your parentheses and you insert 2y plus negative 4. Now close it. Now after it's closed here, you have plus negative 7 y equals negative 14. Okay. Now I have a y and a y, so I'm going to solve for y. So I distribute the 11. Okay. First I'm going to times it to the 2y, then I'm going to times it to the negative 4. So it's 22y, and then 11 times negative 4 is negative 44. Okay. So I line up your equals, drop your plus down, then you got 22y, negative 44. Then remember to add your negative 7y. Okay. Now remember, those are on the same side, so you combine them by adding. Okay. So a 22 plus a negative 7 is 15y. Then you have to add your negative 44. before you're equal to negative 14. Okay. A wall goes here. I'm sorry, I drew the wall in the wrong place. Okay. That wall shouldn't be there. Take your negative 44 to 0 by adding. Negative 14 plus 44 is 30. 15 times y equals 30. Then I divide each side of the equation by 15, and that's 2. Y equals 2. Okay, now find your x. We put 2. I would use the equation that's got the x by itself. It's less work. Okay. So 2 goes in for y. Take 2 times 2, which is 4. So x equals 4 plus negative 4. Now x is by itself, so we just do what's on the other side. 4 plus negative 4 is 0. Just add them, okay? 0 and 2. You can get 0 for an answer, I just did, okay? Next one, 7x plus 3y equals negative 12, and then we have 2x plus 5y equals 38. Okay, do you have a letter all by itself? I don't think you do, so you have to use the elimination. So write one of the two equations down for later, then do your columns. Now you want either the x's or y's to add to 0. That's 9, that's 8. So, okay, are those the same? Nope. Are those the same? Nope. So you need to multiply them to get them the same. So you got a 2 here, so 2, 2, 2. And you got a 7 here, so 7, 7, 7. Okay. So 2 times 7x is 14x. 2 times 3y is 6y. And then 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. Now bottom, 2x times 7 is 14x. 5y times 7 is 35y. And then 38 times 7 is, good question, 266. Okay, now try to add. Now, those still aren't going to add to 0 unless one's a positive and one's a negative. Well, now it is, but then the 35 goes opposite to negative, and the 266 goes opposite to negative. Now I add, and that's 0x. Then I take 6 and add negative 35. That's negative 29y. Then I take negative 24 and add negative 266. Remember, always adding. Negative 290. So 0x is eliminated, okay? So negative 29 times y equals negative 290. So we divide each side by negative 29. And negative 290 divided by negative 229 is 10, okay? So y equals 10. So now 10 goes in for y right here. And I'm going to take 3 times 10. 3 times 10 is 30, okay? So you got 7x plus 30 equals negative 12. So I subtract 30. Negative 12 minus 30 is negative 42, then divide by 7. Negative 42 divided by 7 is negative 6, okay? Negative 6, 10. Okay, last two. X equals y plus 3, 2x minus y equals 5. Okay, looking for a letter by itself. Right there I have it, okay? That's a base. So I'm using the substitution method, sub-method. Now write your other equation. Couple things. We want to make that a plus negative and then put a 1 in front of the y equals 5. Okay, so now the base is x, so that's where the parentheses goes. Whatever that letter is there. And then above it, we're going to put y plus 3, 1y plus 3. So write your 2, then open your parentheses and just drop down 1y plus 3. Now after the parentheses, it said plus it said negative 1y, it said equals 5. Now I have a y and a y, so I can solve for y. Okay, so 2 times 1y times 3. So it's 2y and 6. So equals 5, drop your plus, 2y, 6. Then add negative 1y. Okay, remember that y's are on the same side, so you make that and write plus. Okay, if I have a 2 and add a negative 1, it's 2, and then you'd move backwards 1, that would take you to 1. 1y plus the 6 equals 5. So minus 6, 5 minus 6 is negative 1. Then divide by 1. And y equals negative 1. Now, negative 1 goes in for y, but we want to put it in for y where the x is by itself, because we still have to find our x. We'll use the one where the x is by itself. Makes it easy, because you can just put negative 1 in for, you can put a 1 in front if you want, or just simply put a negative 1. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So you get negative 1 plus 3. And the x is by itself, so I just go over here and add those. So negative 1 plus 3 is 2. 2, negative 1. Okay, then finally the last problem. We have 12x minus 7y equals negative 2. And then we have negative 8x plus 11y equals 14. So I'm solving for x and y. Okay, so write down your other one of the equations for later, because you don't have a letter by itself. That's quite obvious, okay? So you have to use E for elimination. Write down 12x plus negative 7y equals negative 2. Okay, then align these into columns. Okay, then we add. Well, that's not 0. That's not 0, so I don't want to add. Okay, I also don't have the same in either column, so we multiply. And you can multiply by negative 8 on top, or 8. It doesn't really matter if you multiply by a negative or a positive. It'll work out in the end. I'll just do what it says. I'll follow the book. Times 12. Okay, so negative 8 times 12 is negative 96x. And that's a negative 7. So a negative 8 times a negative 7 is 56, positive. And then a negative 8 times a negative 2 is 16. Now on the bottom, a negative 8 times a 12 is a negative 96. 11 times 12 is 132y. Then 14 times 12 gives us 168. Now, we're going to reorganize this. Now, you have the same right there, but you need one of them negative, one of them positive. So let's make that positive, then I'm good. But I have to change 132 to its negative opposite, and then 168 to its negative opposite. And then that will add to 0x. Remember, if I make that opposite, the rest of the numbers in the equation have to be opposite. Okay. Then I take positive 56 and add negative 132. I got negative 76y. Then I take 16 and add negative 168, and that's negative 152. So 0x, you're out, okay? Then I'm just dividing by negative 76, man, okay? I think that's 2. Positive, it's 2. It is. Y equals 2. Now then 2 goes in for y here. Good thing I have that sitting right there ready to go. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. So we now have 12x plus negative 14 equals negative 2. So dot circle, get your negative 14 to 0 by adding 14. Negative 2 plus 14 is 12, so 12 times x equals 12. And then divide by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. Okay. Got it.